January 2026, Monero hit all-time high. Zcash, it rallied up to 700% within 3 months, and total privacy coin has hit to almost $24 billion as of now. At this dark phase in privacy coins, and what has changed suddenly in 2026? Do you think we are finally reacting to the threats that you predicted back in 2014?
We're starting to see the resurgence in privacy, for a lot of reasons. There's not a week goes by where we don't see something was hacked, right?
Yeah.
The information is getting out there. People at the best case scenario, hackers take your email address. Worst case scenario, they're collecting everything that you're typing in emails, everything that you're shopping for on Amazon, everything that people that you're talking to, your messages, all that stuff, bank information, what you buy, what your bills are, and that stuff's connected to where you live, and who's in your family, and what kind of car you drive, and all this other stuff. And it's it's very personal stuff.
Surprised me is they are calling privacy the biggest moat of crypto, right? Not speed, not scalability, not even DeFi, right? It's privacy, right? Do you think you already predicted it, or was there a different vision you had when you started this and you slightly pivoted to the demands? Say you have a funding of, let's say, $1 million, right? Where will you put it in marketing?
This is a really, really good question. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm torn between a couple of ideas.
Already crossed, I think, 1 hour and 20 minutes already. GM everyone, welcome to Emergence Unchained. I'm Sagar, and today's episode might be the most important conversation that we might be having on money this year. Here's the setup. In January 2026, Monero hit all-time high. Zcash, it rallied up to 700% within 3 months, and total privacy coin has hit to almost $24 billion as of now. And here's the kicker: A16Z, we all know that the biggest name in the venture capital, published a piece saying privacy is the single biggest moat of all time in the crypto, which is very, very surprising to hear from those people. Privacy went from a weird corner of crypto that nobody wanted to talk about, to the hottest narrative in the entire crypto now. So why did it happen, and what changed, and where is the original privacy coin heading to? So we are talking with someone who has been in this space for a very long time, since 2014. I like to welcome the OG of privacy coin, Verge Currency. I'll like to welcome Justin, the founder of Verge. So
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Justin. Honored to have you here, and I'm really excited to have this conversation moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. I had a blast the last time we did a show. It was maybe like a month ago. It was a good time.
Yeah, cool. Great. So before we get into Verge, I need to set the table, right? So because what's happening in the recent past, especially in 2026, has been unprecedented. We are living in a world where AI models are being trained for everything: your emails, your browsing history, your financial transactions. OpenAI, Google, Meta, they have all the data that you might be having, right? And they
Yep.
are using it to crunch data every day and every second to make it even smarter. And here's the thing that is worrying me: blockchain is all about having transparency. So all the data that is on the blockchain, it's out there, right? So all those chatbots, or they are crunching data and making them smarter. So yeah, so this is the whole point of this particular conversation. So yeah, I just wanted to understand from your point of view, what has changed from 2014 to now, why we had this dark phase in privacy coins, and what has changed suddenly in 2026? Do you think we are finally reacting to the threats that you predicted back in 2014?
That's it's a great question, and the answer is so large. When we look back to 2014, I first got into crypto in 2012. I was just like anybody else. I was like, what is this? This is really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
It's like payments. It's it's kind of like money, but it's kind of like storing money.
Yeah.
I could be my own bank. I have a wallet on my computer. This is all really cool, but but one of my main concerns was, is the government going to try to stop all of this? And And that was honestly one of my number one concerns when I launched Verge in 2014. For many years, I was very scared. Every day, I was scared. And the larger that the project grew, the more scared I got. I'm like, wow, this project is worth millions of dollars, and what if all of a sudden it just gets banned or something like that? It's
Yeah.
terrifying. It's terrifying, especially because I'd put so much work into it. So much of my blood, sweat, and tears. And money. It was a lot of work, and a lot of money, and a lot of time, and a lot of stress. And I said, what if this all gets taken away from me? They just decide that this is over, and we're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I think now, we're starting to see the resurgence in privacy, for a lot of reasons. There's not a week goes by where we don't see something was hacked, right?
Yeah.
The information is getting out there. People at the best case scenario, hackers take your email address.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, they're collecting everything that you're typing in emails, everything that you're shopping for on Amazon, everything that people that you're talking to, your messages, all that stuff, bank information, what you buy, what your bills are, and that stuff's connected to where you live, and who's in your family, and what kind of car you drive, and all this other stuff. And it's very personal stuff. And people, I think that we all feel, no matter what country you live in and no matter what current rules you currently live under,
Hmm.
everybody kind of feels like they should have the right to be private. It's just like taking a shower. If I take a shower, I shouldn't have to have the door open, right? I should be
Yeah.
allowed
Of
to shut
course.
the door.
Yeah.
Same thing. If I'm going to use the bathroom, I should be allowed to shut the door. It's the same thing with anything else. I mean, if I have a conversation with someone in my family, that's my business. If I have a conversation with a friend, that should be my business, their business, no one else's. And I think the more we allow, or we have allowed, all of these aspects of internet to start collecting our data by saying, do you agree to the terms and service? And nobody reads it. Nobody reads it. I don't read it. You don't read it. Nobody reads it. We say,
Yeah.
okay. And they're taking all our information, and we all know it. But we want to be able to do whatever the other thing is on the other side of that click agree button. And, the more these people take all that information, the more we're realizing, wow, like, you know, especially when, we're using AI now and we're seeing how good it is. A couple of years ago it was crap, and now all of a sudden it's like you could have a full-on conversation with it. Me as a developer, I'm it shocks me because I'm like, man, I remember the first iterations of GPT models and chat models, and it was like talking to a little kid.
Yeah.
And now suddenly I'm like, ChatGPT, tell me everything that happened in the year 2016 to 2017, and give me this exact day of the week, and this and this, and it's right immediately tells me everything. And it's gotten very powerful. So we also know that in the future, the exploitation of this kind of information is going to be bad. All of our conversations with AI that we have might be leaked. And I think that we know now with crypto, at least, that there's no putting it back. There's no
Yeah.
there's no stopping it now. It's gone
Yeah.
worldwide. The markets have too much money in them, and we do know one thing from experience, and that's big money wins. Governments can do whatever they want except for when it comes to big money. Big money will stop the government every time, whether it's good or bad. Big money stops it. And I think that we're lucky in this case with crypto, because crypto we think is good and has a lot of good use cases. And I think that crypto can stop the government from banning it.
Yeah.
And then we've also had more clear policies and regulations be established that kind of make people feel safer. We've seen more ETFs get established. So we know that crypto's here to stay. And that's a good thing, because then it makes people feel a lot more safer. It's like, okay, now I can actually invest in this stuff. And that's why we're seeing Bitcoin hit $120,000. I never in my days dreamed it would go that high, but now that I know what I know it's going to go to 1 million one day. That's going to happen. I don't know when, but I know it's going to. It might go down to 50K next week, and next year it might be 200K. But
True.
I know it's going to happen. And I'm not psychic, unfortunately. I wish I was.
True.
But I think that now that we're starting to establish that crypto's here to stay, I think that people are also realizing, hey, I don't want everything I do to be broadcast, publicly. It's kind of like when you send an email, you don't send it public. You don't write a letter to your friend and stick it to a wall outside where everybody can read it. You want to give it to them directly. And I think that that's how people are starting to feel about crypto. Like, wait a minute, maybe I want to have some privacy to this. If I have a lot of money in my wallet, I don't want people to know that I have a ton of
Of
money in my
course.
wallet
Of
and
course.
people to be able to see it. So I think that it's moving in the right direction, and I think that people are starting to wake up to, like, hey, we need some privacy. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. You briefly talked about the government that they are trying to put their money into ETFs and all those stuff.
Sure.
But it comes with regulations as well. So
Hmm.
they have tried to delist every privacy coin,
Yes.
tried all sort of stuff, right? So do you
Hmm.
think it's kind of a wrapper that is being sold to the people, that if they cannot take your privacy by yourself, they are giving you a very friendly chatbot in the name of Gemini or in the name of ChatGPT, and saying, hey, you can share whatever you want to with that and solve
That's a
your
good point.
problem.
That's a good point. Absolutely. Like I said too, you got to remember the one thing that can stop the government every single time is money. So I think that, now that crypto has enough money, well, we've seen privacy coins get banned. Like Monero, for instance, was banned everywhere
Yeah,
except for KuCoin. Um, and, congratulations to Korea for KuCoin for standing up and saying, hey, we're not going to delist it no matter what anybody says.
yeah.
But we've also seen a rise of privacy among US exchanges, like Zcash is on Coinbase, I believe.
Hmm.
Binance never delisted any of these projects. So I think that a reputation has a lot to do with it as well. And Zcash has some notable math professors working behind it and stuff. And I think that as long as privacy projects are willing to work with regulation, I think that we'll be able to find some kind of middle ground where uh, users are able to have privacy with crypto, and governments are satisfied with the level of privacy that the users have. I think there's like an in between somewhere where they can kind of meet.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, yeah, I think I mentioned about the A16Z, report that they published very recently.
Hmm.
I was just going through it very briefly, and the thing that surprised me is they are calling privacy the biggest moat of crypto, right? Not
Hmm.
speed, not scalability, not even DeFi, right? It's privacy, right? So they
Hmm.
are also saying that there is a network effect whenever you are getting into that network, it is very difficult to leave from that, because you are used to all the things that are being protected, and you are feeling safe out there,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So do you think when you started back in 2014, do you think you already predicted it, or was there a different vision you had when you started this, and you slightly pivoted to the demands?
That's a good question. Here's an interesting way of looking at this. Now, I see the crypto market as sort of a stock market, and each project is their value of the price of their coins are like the valuation of their company. Yet we're trying to use them as a currency.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like imagine you have stock in Amazon and you want to spend it every day as your cash. It's kind of the same concept. We have a lot of room for a lot of different projects in this crypto sphere, and everybody's doing something a little bit different. And I think one of the most interesting aspects of it is that, the valuation seems to come from the price of the token or the coin multiplied by the market cap, and that kind of gives the project a valuation. But every project is heading in a different direction, and as new technology, as they establish new technologies, the price goes up, and things like that. But then we're using this as money also. So it's a really strange kind of hybrid between the stock market and currencies.
yeah.
It's a really interesting dynamic. But no, I don't think that I never predicted where crypto would be today. I thought that if it got like this, it would be 20 years away, 30 years away, 40 years
So it
away,
is it is happening way sooner than you
way
predicted.
sooner. Yeah, I mean, when I remember when Bitcoin hit $1,000, I could not believe it. I was like,
What was the
this
price
is
when you entered?
30, $40.
30, $40. Yeah,
And
amazing. Amazing.
when I saw Bitcoin go to 1,000, my first thought was, no way, this is going to be gone tomorrow. This will be back down to $100. There's no way. This is so high. And then I remember when it hit 10,000, I said the same thing. I was like, I can't believe this is $10,000. This is crazy. It's going to go back down. It's going to go back down. And
Yeah,
and and it does correct. Every time it goes up really high, it does come
yeah,
back down. But what do we know? We know it comes back down, and then we know it goes back up.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
it comes back
With
down, and
the
then it
same
goes back
speed,
up.
yeah.
Yeah, and it goes on and on. So, it's funny to see the same thing happen in this field over and over. Like, I see people like panicking right now, like, oh my God, Bitcoin went down. It was 120, and now it's only
Yeah.
70. And I'm like, only 70? That is so much money. One Bitcoin is $70,000. And next year, in a couple of years, it's going to be worth like 5 times that. It's so much
True.
money, you know. And
It's a very very common meme that we see always. There are two sides of things.
Yes.
People tend to buy when it is going over 100,000. When it is on 70, nobody's buying it. So
Yeah.
which is happening
Yeah.
right now as well.
Well, and
People
you
are
have the
calling
people
it
you have
that
the
it is
people who
going
are
ahead.
scared when all of a sudden Bitcoin goes to 120 and they're scared that it's going to go to like a million right now, and they
Yeah,
want to buy it, and then they buy it at 120,000,
yeah,
and then it goes down, and they're like, oh no, and then they sell it at a lower price.
yeah.
It's like crypto is such an easy way to make money, but if you are scared, it's a great way to lose money.
Yeah, that's true. That is why we consider people that are from 2014 the OGs, because it's only 12, 13 years, but still you have faced at least 5, 6 cycles, if not more. So which is
Yes.
very hard to see. Very,
Yeah.
very, very hard to see. I don't remember, if apart from a couple projects, I don't think any of those tokens have survived till now. If they had started from 2014.
There's a lot of pressure too when you're a lead project developer like me.
Yeah,
It's so funny because, at first, when the market would go down, everybody'd be like, "What are you doing? What are you working on? What's going on? Do you have news? Do you have news?"
yeah,
And then, and I just work. I just work. Now I'm so used to it that I like working during the bear market and everybody's freaking out, and I'm just like sitting at
yeah,
my desk with my nose down, getting my work done. Everybody loves you when the market's up. Everybody hates you when the market's down. But
yeah,
the cool thing is that if you just keep working and you just stay consistent, your project
yeah,
lasts. And here I am 12 years later, and I get to say that I'm still in crypto. My project is still at the top. We're worth like $100 million or something,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's and we're still out there. And all I could tell you is that it's if you're one of the people listening right now that bought Bitcoin at 120,000 and you're freaking out right now, all I can tell you is that it's going to get better, and it's
Yeah,
going to go higher than where you bought it. And if you hold on to that, it's going to keep
you'll be good.
going.
Yeah.
So you just got to be patient.
Yeah, that makes sense, because people are so they are always looking to make profits within a
Sure.
very very short period of time. They are not really looking to hold on to things when they are seeing things go down, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, 100% it makes sense. I mean, let's be honest. Life is hard. Life is
yeah,
expensive.
yeah.
We live
Of
in a
course.
world where the prices, everything's going up. Life gets harder for most people. Things get more expensive for most people. And most people's jobs don't keep paying them more and more and more.
Yeah.
Life is very hard, and it's understandable that happens.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So some words of wisdom from the OG itself. Cool. So yeah, talking about privacy coin a little bit further. How do you see your competitors, or the people that are in the privacy coins? Zcash, it has been in limelight for I think 4 or 5 months now.
Mhm.
Before that it was Monero that hit all time high. I think it went up to $800, if not more. How do
Right.
you see those guys doing in the privacy space? Do you think you all are allies working in a single niche or single mission?
I I don't see them as competitors. I see them
Okay.
as just other projects.
Yeah.
Same thing with with Bitcoin or anybody else or Monero, Zcash, or we had Ycash on the show a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago. That guy was really smart, and I really liked his attitude. Like I said, it's like a stock market. How many toy companies are in the stock market? Lots. How
Yeah.
many shipping companies are on the stock market? Lots. There's room for
True.
a lot of projects out here. It's an industry, and as long as you have something to offer and you stay consistent and you have a real plan, and you're going to keep working on that plan, I think there's room for a lot of them. And I honestly, I mean, I think it would be cool if the entire industry started turning to privacy. There's no such thing as too many.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take that back. I think CoinMarketCap recognizes like 30 or 40 million projects, and I think that that's a little bit silly.
Yeah.
And I think there's room for some projects to go away, but I don't think that I don't see everybody in crypto as competing with one another. I think
Yeah.
it's more as they're all kind of on their own path to see what they can do. And even though we're 12 years or well since Bitcoin, we're 17 years in, but since most crypto started launching around 2015, 2016, I think we're about 10 years. This is still very early. 10
Yeah.
years into a new market is not much. That's like
Oh, but
saying, it's like saying like the video game market after 10 years. What was the video game market after 10 years? Atari, because
yeah.
there were video game consoles before Atari. So was Atari like new? No. Now we look back at it, we're like, oh my God, look at video games now. So there's so much room for so many projects out here, and this is still such an early market. I mean, 10 years in, is nothing. Look at the sneaker market. Sneakers came out like 100 years ago,
Yeah.
and and the market's bigger than ever, and there's a million different kinds of sneakers. So, like I
I
said,
think
I mean,
it's
it's
just that there is so much volatility in the market, especially in the crypto space. 1 year
sure,
of
but that's
crypto
also still
feels like
because it's new.
2 or 3 years.
It's still new though. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I think over time I think over time we'll see more stabilization. I think
yeah.
that overall, because of how most projects like mine and Bitcoin have a capped supply, I think
Hmm.
that we will see steady growth, but I
Hmm.
think it will be more stable steady growth. I still think it'll go up over time
Hmm.
because that's the way it's designed, the deflation. But I think that it'll still go up over time, but I think it'll stabilize because I think that Bitcoin is still, or crypto itself is still very volatile because it's still just a new market.
Yeah.
Big players are coming in and out. There's still giant VC firms and investors that haven't even gone in yet, and so
That's
it's
true.
still very
That's
early.
true. 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 So yeah, I think talking about evolving the space, I think I'm sure you must have seen a lot of projects that are coming in this space, especially in the
Sure.
privacy market. They are being labeled as privacy 2.0.
Hmm.
A couple of projects, I think they got a huge amount from ventures as well. I think one of them was Sama Oasis Network. How do you see these guys? Do you think they are simplifying things? How do you, as a Verge developer, lead developer, how do you see it?
I don't like to be the judge of all projects myself. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of good projects out there. I won't talk about the bad ones, but like I said, I respect a lot of people's ideas. Like the Ycash guy that we had. We got
Yeah.
along great. I think his project's fantastic. I wish them the best of luck. Um, and I think that anybody that's making privacy working on it,
Yeah.
keep going. Push it. I'm a fan of privacy and I'm well established in this field. If you beat me, congratulations. I'll be happy for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's great. I think everybody should keep innovating. I will warn you, I'm still working on stuff too right now. We've got stuff releasing in the future as well.
Yeah.
But I hope that everybody continues to work hard and keep pushing in this field, especially in the privacy aspect of crypto. I love it. I'm an enthusiast. I love reading about new projects that are doing privacy. I like looking at some and saying these guys are lying. I like looking at other ones and saying these guys are onto something. I'm going to keep an eye on them. I
Yeah.
love it. I mean, that's how much I love this stuff. It's like watching like your favorite sport.
Yeah.
If you really really like sports, you can't have just one favorite team. You got to have several
Yeah.
favorite
That's true.
teams.
That's true. That's
You
true.
know.
Yeah.
And that's how I am with crypto. I mean, I've been on podcasts before and forgot to mention my project completely because
No, no
I
issue.
love
We'll be talking about
talking
this.
about crypto. I like talking about stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty honest and open about that stuff.
It's great. It's great to see so much enthusiasm, even after staying for such a long time, and
Yeah,
in your terms, such a brief time. But yeah, it's great to see such enthusiasm and so much to learn from people like yourself, which is great. Which is
yeah. I
why
mean,
we are having this conversation.
it comes with experience. I mean, after so much time, you just kind
Yeah,
of you start to understand that you only have so much control over things, and you
yeah,
just got to accept things. And I'm very zen about it. It's like
mm,
what happens happens, and just make the best out of it. And
yeah,
I truly love it. It's not something that it's not like my parents forced me to be into crypto. I got into it on my own from my own background, and I love so. But yeah, I mean, I love seeing other projects coming out, and I love reading about the new tech that comes out. With
yeah.
other people. And I hope it continues to grow.
Yeah, that's great to see. Talking about your experience, you have been, as we already talked about, you have been through different cycles. What was your favorite cycle or the worst cycle that you saw? I'm sure it must be around 2018, but I'll like
Yeah.
to know
So
more about you.
here's a funny answer because that you probably aren't expecting. In 2018, when my project in particular just started going crazy, started pumping like crazy, it was
Yeah.
the market cap ended up reaching like 3 or 4 billion, and
Mm.
this was still like before like crypto had any regulations or policies. The government in my country in the USA didn't seem to like it. When my project peaked at its highest, I was scared out of my mind. I was so stressed out. I called a lawyer. I was like, what do I need to do? I was like sweating. I'm like why is all this happening? I'm like, my emails are going crazy. My phone's ringing. I'm like all these, Fortune magazine is calling me and Bloomberg and, Wired magazine. And I'm like,
Wow.
and I was scared, to be honest. To be 100% honest, I was completely scared because
Yeah.
it was new. And I knew the government wasn't really a big fan of the privacy stuff, especially with crypto at all, let
Yeah.
alone privacy stuff. And I was scared, to be honest. So honestly, 2018 probably was most people's favorite time that have been
Yeah.
around, but not mine. My favorite are the quiet bear cycles where everybody's just kind of being quiet and
Yeah.
nothing's really going on, and I get to work and nobody bothers me.
Yeah.
And then and then honestly, with my project, I think that we probably release the most updates and the most news during bear cycles because I'm able to work so
Yeah.
because when everything gets so crazy and there's so much hype and attention, people are calling me and they're emailing me and they're chatting, all the Discord and Telegram and all that stuff's going crazy. I like to work. I just like to work. I like to just put my music on and just code. And so like in the last month, I've gotten so much work done. I can't even tell you. Ever since Bitcoin went back down, I've gotten
Yeah.
so much work done. I can't wait to make some more release. I have some awesome stuff that we're releasing soon. And I don't want to talk about it yet and spoil it, but yeah, but honestly, you might be surprised to hear that that's my favorite time in the cycles is always when it's quiet because I get the most work done, and I know that work when everything goes crazy makes it much better.
Yeah, yeah, that's great to hear. Very few people in the crypto space they like the bear market because obviously
Yeah,
they love money, right?
right.
So it's great to
I'm not a
hear.
trader. I don't do any trading.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm terrible at it.
yeah.
I try to save crypto here and there. I try to get other cryptos, swap some crypto out, and trade it for other cryptos here and there. But I don't really trade to try to make money. It's too difficult, and it's the complete opposite of what I do.
It's the nature of developers, in my opinion.
It's like gambling. It's like the casino.
Yeah,
Some people are great at it. I'm not.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not good at it. I'm good at coding, and that's what I stay with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. So yeah, let's talk about let's take few steps back and talk about 2014. I've read about you. I've read when you came into crypto. You looked at Bitcoin, and I think you mentioned that it is not private enough. I
Mhm.
don't think there was a ICO stage at that time. No
No,
pre-mining, no
nope,
VCs, in my opinion.
no.
I think you just forked Peercoin, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
To
I did it for fun. I was working in the crypto space. I had opened up my own little mining pool, so
Mm,
friends of mine were able to connect to it and mine different altcoins that were coming out, and Bitcoin and Litecoin and
yeah,
Dogecoin.
yeah,
Primarily, it was Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin.
yeah,
Those
yeah,
were like there weren't many other projects out there.
yeah.
And I started kind of just I knew the code because I had to use the code to run the mining pool. So I started
Mm,
learning the code. I learned the code really well, and I was
okay.
like, you know what? We started seeing all these altcoins come out, and they were all garbage. They were all
Mm,
just these guys, like anonymous guys coming out. They had already mined the project before they launched, and they had a
yeah.
ton of the coins, and they were just waiting for it to get listed. Then as soon as people started buying it, they'd slam it
Mm,
down, take all the Bitcoin and liquidity out, and I said, you know what? Just for fun, I'm gonna launch this project, and I'm just gonna see who I know in the space that wants to help contribute, and
mm.
I'm gonna just launch it and just do it, and just for fun. And
Back in 2014, I think it was called Dogecoin Dark, right?
Dogecoin Dark, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was big in Dogecoin. I love Dogecoin. I still do.
Yeah.
I contribute to Dogecoin source code.
Okay.
I've contributed to Bitcoin source code.
Oh wow.
I love crypto. I still
Mm,
do. And like I said, I don't see them as competitors,
mm,
so I
mm,
enjoy them. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna make like a private version of Dogecoin because the idea behind Dogecoin was fun to me.
mm.
A big amount of coins. Everybody's got like at the time when Litecoin and Bitcoin, everybody would have like 100 Bitcoins or 100 Litecoins, which now seems like a lot. But at the time, it was like when Dogecoin came out, it was like I could have 20 million coins. And you have 20 million coins, and this person has 20 million coins. There's somebody new in our chat. They don't have any coins. Somebody send this guy a million coins. And it was fun because it was like, millions, everybody had
Yeah.
tons and tons of them. And
Yeah.
we had these bots set up where you could come into the chat and you automatically received Dogecoin from like
Dogecoin.
people that were sharing. So
Yeah.
people literally just kind of throw it up in the air and everybody got a piece.
Oh
And
wow.
that happened all day, all day. I mean, everybody was just here's a million, and it's split up between 100 people, and everybody would just and so if you were new, you had hundreds of thousands of Dogecoin your first day. If you were new, you just came into the chat. Here, people were like, here's Dogecoin, have it, have fun," and I loved that idea. And it became a really close knit community. A lot of people became really good friends. We were chatting all the time. We would talk about
Mm,
our lives, our personal stuff, and we had a good time. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make like a privacy version of this because I knew how to use Tor. I knew how to use the software, and I was like, I'm going to try to like make like a private version of Dogecoin.
mm.
But except for with the idea of Bitcoin where the supply is capped. Dogecoin's supply is not capped. They make more coins forever and ever. And I was like, maybe we can make like something like that, but it can also kind of have value because we can cap the supply. So once it's done being mined, it's done. And then all the coins are out there, and that's that. And then maybe
Mm.
eventually, once the coins are distributed to everybody, maybe the price will start to go up. And that was the concept behind it. I was like, I want to try to add some privacy tools because at the time I was able to find other people's IP addresses using the Dogecoin software and using Bitcoin software. I could actually run it on the network and I could monitor it and I could kind of see where IP addresses, people's home computers, IP addresses. And I was like, you know what? I think a privacy version of this would be good because then at least people are a little more protected and like don't have to worry about people getting their computer scanned.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Love to hear, the chat story that you just mentioned about the Dogecoin. I wish I was the part of it back that time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a good time. Yeah, it was funny back then in crypto. We all knew each other. Everybody knew each other. We were all in
yeah,
Skype chats together. We all knew each other on a first name basis. And now crypto is so huge. I don't know anybody that doesn't know about crypto.
yeah. True, 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 true. So let's talk about, I think we already mentioned about, all the phases that you went through. Um, you know, what do you think was the major factor behind Verge's, sustainability? Why do you think
Uh,
that you are still in the market, and while I think 99% of the project might have already shut down by now? What do you think was the
I
major
think
factor?
I think a lot of the reason of that is because I didn't make it. I'm not a company guy. I'm not a business guy. I'm
Mm,
a coder. I'm a nerd. I'm a coder. I like to
mm,
listen to music. I like to hang out in my pajama pants. When I made the project, I didn't take it serious. I didn't look at it as a business. I
mm,
looked at it as like, let me have some fun with my friends.
yeah.
Since I was kind of nervous about, well, I didn't like that people were mining a bunch of coin and then releasing them,
Mm,
and people were, doing that kind of stuff. So I was like, you know what? Maybe this will also protect me from getting in trouble later on.
mm,
Like an ICO or something like that. Like, what if one day they change the law retroactively and I get arrested for selling coins to investors and I'm not licensed or something? So, I think that then of course when Pornhub called me and we ended up being integrated into Pornhub, I think that had a lot to do with it because they also are a company that gets a lot of scrutiny. A lot of people look at them and they're like, they examine them with a close eye, like, what are these guys
yeah,
doing?
yeah,
So they have to operate very clean. They have to be very, very, straightforward guys. They have to be very clean cut and
yeah,
operate flawlessly because they're already under heavy scrutiny. So I think that with partnering with a project like mine, it was easy for them because they were like, you know what, nobody's ever going to go after this guy because he didn't do anything wrong.
yeah,
And it was a surprise to me, to be honest. I mean, I didn't believe it at first when they were when I were talking to them. I'm like, there's no way this giant company wants to use my project. I think
yeah.
they would go to Bitcoin first, but sure enough, it's like because we had some user privacy baked in, and
Mm,
because we were probably not going to ever get in trouble for an ICO because we didn't do one. Um, I think that had a lot to do with it, and then I think also because I came into crypto as a new person looking, from a coder angle. I came in and I still am a normal guy. I'm still a normal person. I still like crypto. So I think
yeah.
that's why it's been successful and why we've been able to stay is because I've seen a lot of companies. One big mistake I see a lot of companies do during crypto bull runs is all of a sudden, prices go up and they have a bunch of money and they build out all of a sudden. They're like, we need to quadruple the size of the company.
Yeah,
And then all of a
yeah,
sudden the price goes down and then they
yeah,
can't sustain it.
yeah.
And this project's always been volunteers like me, the other guys that work on the team, like Mark, Derek, Carlos, all these guys that work are moderators. These guys are all just in it because they love crypto and they like to have fun.
Okay,
So
how many people do you guys have in Verge working?
I mean, altogether we have moderators in all our chats, and then we probably have a core team of like 4 or 5 people.
That's all.
So and it's gotten bigger and smaller over time, but
Mm,
it's never been like we've never expanded to where we need sustainability and we need to be
yeah,
sustainable. We're all just people at home that were sustaining anyway.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it wasn't like we didn't turn it into a giant. The biggest mistake a company can do, especially a new company coming into crypto, is when Bitcoin's charts are green and the price is high, is expand the company. Don't
mm,
do that. Do not
yeah,
do that.
yeah,
When the price is up high, make plans for when the price is going to go back down.
yeah,
That's what you need to do. If you want to stay in here a long time, be happy when the price is up, but as soon as that price is up, you need to remember the price is going to go back down. I
yeah,
need to prepare for that.
yeah,
And if you can, try to sell when the price is high so you could buy back cheaper.
That's good advice. I was also reading a few stats about, you already mentioned about, people are expanding whenever
Right.
the prices are high. I was just reading about it. I think more than 10 protocols they shut down completely within 26,
Wow.
and which is amazing to see. I think less than 5 or 6 protocols they are making more than $1,000 a month in
Wow.
revenues, which is amazing to see because they have such hefty VCs backing and
Right.
billion of dollar of funding and all those stuff, but they are barely making thousand
Right.
dollar in revenues, not even profits.
I think another good thing though too is that about my project anyway is that I never took money from VCs because I already knew how to code.
Mm.
So I launched the project with ideas. I didn't say I need to find a coder and this is the business I want to make. I was a coder and I said this is what I want to make and I made it.
Mm.
And so I never had to take orders from people. I never had a VC firm say this is what we're doing,
Yeah,
or a VC firm come and tell me, hey, we're not making enough money, we're going to shut it down. You
yeah,
can't shut me down. You can't. If I make zero every day, you can't shut me down. I can do whatever I want. So
it's still on
we
you.
yeah. So I think that it has a lot to do with it. I mean, sometimes VC firms can be great, and
Mm.
they can make a project explode, and they can help with marketing, they can help with hiring more developers, and they can make a
Yeah,
real vision come to life. But then there's other VC firms that are only in it for the money. They don't care about
yeah,
the product, and if you're not doing exactly what they tell you, they shut it down.
yeah.
You
That's
never
that's
know.
what we have been seeing.
You
Yeah.
have to be careful. There's all types of VC firms out there. There's incredible ones that can change your life and change our world, and then there's
Mm.
other ones that are just all they care about is the bottom line. They want to make money, and if it's not making money, they shut it down.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. That's exactly what we are seeing right now
Hmm.
in all those stats that we mentioned. Yeah, cool. So I think you already mentioned about Pornhub partnership that happened back in I think 2018, if I'm not
Yes.
wrong. How did it happen? What was the thought process behind it? How was it when it goes live? What was the reaction? Tell me all about it
Uh,
because it was very surprising for all of us
I
to see
I didn't.
that kind of partnership.
It was hard to believe.
Yeah,
Like I said, I mean, even to this day, I'm a regular guy, and my friends like to mess with me. I like to mess with my friends sometimes, and
yeah,
honestly, I thought it was probably just one of my friends messing with me. Like I said, Bitcoin. There weren't many projects out there, but I was
mm,
thinking like, why would Pornhub want to add my project when they
yeah,
have Bitcoin? Bitcoin's there. Why wouldn't they? Everybody has Bitcoin. Not everybody has my project, but
yeah.
everybody has Bitcoin. But we had a pretty good sized community already,
Mm,
and once that news launched, I mean, it just really exploded. But yeah, it was definitely a strange feeling. I mean, I flew out there. I actually flew out to their headquarters in Canada, and I got to meet all their CEOs, and it changed my entire opinion and previous thoughts about what that industry was like. Everybody there was very professional.
okay.
When you walk around their headquarters, their corporate headquarters, you have no idea what kind of company you're in. It could be
Mm,
anything. It's just a tech company. There's people at
mm,
computers. Everybody's dressed normal. There's nobody running around, in bikinis. Everybody's dressed very nice. Everybody's
yeah.
super polite. The guys that run the company really care about the employees. I mean, some of the stories that I heard from the employees about what the higher ups have done for them was awesome. I mean, there's employees that have gotten sick, and the top level executives were like, "We're going to give you a salary for the rest of your life.
Wow.
We're gonna always take care of you, even though you can't work anymore." Like, I mean, it was the complete opposite of what I was expecting. I was expecting to
Mm,
like walk into like a Howard Stern type show, and see like just people drinking and partying everywhere.
yeah.
Nothing like that everywhere. It was just like any Fortune 500, corporate building that I've been in. And
Right.
everybody was really polite, really nice, very business oriented.
Mm,
It was very different. It was definitely an eye opener. I had no idea what that aspect of that world was like, and it was definitely not what I had assumed.
great, great, great. So, how was the reception at Verge? How did it happen? And if I could ask you, how many users did you gain? Do you think it was a successful campaign, or
Yeah, I mean,
when
we're
is the
still
when is
we're
the
still
next
listed. We're
partnership
still
coming
listed
along?
on it. We're still listed on that site.
Yeah.
As a payment option, and I mean, we already had a big user base, but we
Mm,
definitely got a lot more. I mean, we definitely gained
yeah.
notoriety. The day that they announced it, we actually had more volume than Bitcoin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we broke $1 billion in volume in 24 hours.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it
That's
was
a lot of
wild.
zeros.
Yeah, I mean, it blows my mind to this day. But like I said, this was all still at a time where it was all making me stressed out. I was nervous. I'm like,
Yeah,
America still hadn't been like, we didn't have Trump come out and say, hey, we're going to make sure the crypto's good. You guys are safe. We didn't have
yeah,
that. We had guys that were like, we need to talk about crypto.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And
True,
I'm like, and when I hear that, I'm like, they're talking to me.
true,
Oh
true,
my
true,
gosh, this is scary.
true.
Uh, so yeah, I mean, it was definitely, it was a wild time. I mean, I would do it all again. It was fun.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it was more it was more nerve wracking for me and anxiety causing than for me than most people, because of my position. I'm the guy that has to go to court if all of a sudden crypto gets banned. I'm the guy that has to go to court, not you for having Verge.
How many times
Me.
did you go to court during that
None.
time?
Oh, none.
None?
None.
Oh wow.
No. I didn't have to do anything. I mean, luckily everything kind of worked out. Now we're in a position where, the US is finally starting to make policies that are pro crypto. And now
Mm.
actually we're seeing that, the US Treasury is going to be stockpiling crypto. So that's a great thing, you know. But we didn't it was very the opposite, 10 years ago. I mean, it was like, I kept thinking I'm going to wake up and find out that crypto was banned, you know. So,
How do you see the policies shaping up? Do you think it is getting better, or do you think they are still playing as per their convenience?
uh so Uh, I think overall it's getting better slowly,
Mm.
very slowly, not as fast as I was hoping,
Yeah, yeah,
um, but very slowly it's getting better. One thing I don't like that I can say changed a lot from early crypto days till now is that all altcoins, everything, if it wasn't Bitcoin, it was an altcoin. Everything,
yeah.
ETH, LTC, Doge, Verge, everything was paired with BTC only. So when price affected BTC, all projects moved with
Yeah.
BTC, and that I think was better than all projects now are backed by what mostly stable coins,
Mm.
USDC, USDT.
Mm.
That's the number one market of almost every single project now is they're pairing with USDT or USDC,
USDT.
and I don't think that's good. I don't think because I think that first of all, crypto was created to get away from fiat.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a way to get out of it. And now
Mm.
they're all pegged to fiat's value. And I don't think that's good. We used to see the cycles were much different in the first few years because everything was pegged to Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin went up, Litecoin went up,
Yeah.
Verge went up, Dogecoin went up. So it's definitely different now. But I guess it's also made it easier for people to get into crypto because they have US dollars in America and they don't necessarily have
Mm.
crypto, so they want to be able to trade it easily. But I personally, I'm not a fan of that. I'd like if I could change anything in crypto right now, I would change all coins to be backed by.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I think it's a fine line that we have to cross, either to get more users, or to
Right,
keep crypto as
right. It's
crypto.
right, and it's a tough call. And honestly, I may be wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe fiat is better for pairing. I don't know,
Mm.
but I personally believe that I liked it better, and I thought made more sense when all the values were backed by Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you on this because I've been in this space for last, I think, since 2018 as well. So yeah.
That's a good run. You've had a
Yeah.
good run then too.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. So back when, back in 2018, crypto was all about having independent, freedom from fiats, freedom
Sure.
from banks, and all those stuff.
Exactly.
But
100%.
now it is all linked to, the banks. When are they, making or putting their money into it, right? So they
Right.
get all
Well,
excited about it.
a good example was everybody was waiting for ISO 222.
Yeah,
Why do you want? Why I thought we were running away from banks. Why are you guys everybody excited about
exactly,
banks? So,
exactly.
and I still don't like banks. I don't mind saying that. I don't like banks.
I
I
think
think that
I think they all like prices to go up. So now they are cheering for the banks
well, the
because
big the big
obviously when
problem in America, the big problem in America is that banks are not sustainable. We talk about
yeah,
sustainability.
true.
Banks operate on inflation.
Yeah.
They are loaning money they don't have.
Hmm.
If I have $10, I can't loan you $10 and him $10 and him $10 and him $10. I have
True.
10. I don't have
True.
50.
Which
So
is what is happening right now.
100%. So, and that was one of the main points of having a capped supply. Like Bitcoin has 21 million coins, so that nobody can just say, "Hey, let's just make more. Let's make more. Print more. Print more." Because all that
Hmm.
does is, well, if I have dollars in my hand and you're printing more, now these are worth less.
Hmm.
And that so it's very anti-crypto, and banks are anti-crypto.
Yeah.
It's just in their nature. So. You know,
I think
I don't.
I think
I
people.
think everybody. I think VC projects are actually the ones. VCs are really the ones that are like trying to bring the banks in, you know, because
Yeah,
they work so closely with them.
yeah, of
But it's
course.
like, that's not really banks are not a crypto thing at all. We should not be
Yeah,
worried about what banks are doing. We should be worrying about what crypto is doing and trying to get away from banks.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I think people are a bit confused on what they exactly want. Let's talk about a few hot takes that I always wanted to ask you, and
Nice.
I'll get all the unfiltered answers from your end as well. So yeah, my first hot take will be privacy coins. When it started, it was called as a criminal money, right? All the headlines were about privacy that is equal to criminal money, right?
Mhm.
But now in 2026, when all the AI, they are scrapping all the details that you ever had. Governments are tracking everything through AI, right? So
Mhm.
do you think who is the real criminal here? Do you think the privacy coin are still the villain, or do you think the system is getting there?
I think that the answer is the people who want to constantly see what everybody's doing are probably the ones committing the crimes. I have no interest in spying on my neighbor.
Mhm.
I want my neighbor next door to be happy and to enjoy their life. I have no interest in spying on them. If suddenly I want to get into all their information, there's probably something with me that's wrong. I'm probably doing something bad. I think the people doing the spying are probably the bad ones,
Mm,
and I think that uh, calling privacy criminal is kind of like an easy way of
yeah,
trying to trick people. It's
yeah,
a way
yeah,
of
yeah.
tricking people. It's making you think that you don't deserve it, and only bad people are the ones that want it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, the second one. Yeah. So yeah, I think we already discussed Monero. It hit $800. All the privacy coins are going all time high. The market cap is all at all time high, right? But at
Mhm.
the same time, there are so many delistings that are happening in this space. What do you think is actually happening? Do you think people are actually telling the investors or the regulators rather where they want to go, and they should regulators maybe they should stop us do?
I think that what we're seeing is like I mentioned before, a lot of people build out while the market is up. And see, a lot of people, when they come in the market isn't up for them. They're just coming into the market. But the
Hmm,
market itself is up at that time.
hmm,
So they might just come into the market with things the way they are and then not be prepared for when the market goes back down.
hmm.
And that kind of comes as a surprise for them. Whereas if you've been in the market for a while, and you operate in this field for a while, that ahead are higher prices and lower prices, that's coming. But when you
Yeah,
come in, like let's say somebody came in last year when Bitcoin was at 120,000 and they built they built their ecosystem around that price, and then
yeah,
then the prices drop out and now it's half of where it was.
yeah.
That could be devastating for a new project.
Hmm,
So it's terrible to see anybody close because of the market of current valuations. But it does happen. But each project has different reasons. I've seen a lot of them just build out and they grow too big and they collapse, or VC firms are just not happy with the amount of money they're making. Any project that closes, I mean, it's definitely hard on the people involved.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, cool. Third hot take. Considering whatever is happening in 2026, right? AI agents, they are all over the place, right? Do you think privacy coin can act as a anti-doxing layer for the AI agents, or is there a
Yeah,
need?
Yeah, there is. Sure. AI won't be able to spy on everything unless we allow it. I mean, if like here's I just thought of this randomly. There's going to probably be a crypto soon that makes you click like that little agree button and
Hmm,
spies on you the whole time you use the crypto app.
yeah, yeah,
That's probably going to happen. So I would say stay away from that. But most projects, like if you just run a Bitcoin core wallet, there's aspects where you can be found, but AI isn't spying on you.
hmm,
With Verge on our projects, we're pretty well secure with that. No users' IP addresses are floating around the network, so
hmm,
nobody's going to find you at home, and
hmm,
that's probably the safest aspect of it. That was our main concern is with an IP address. If I get your IP address, I can find your house.
hmm,
And the other thing is, if I find your IP address in a coin network, that means you have that coin, so I know you have crypto.
yeah,
And those are two things that you don't want people knowing. It's kind of like having like something expensive in the front window of your house and the window is open and people walking by can see that there's something nice in there, you
yeah,
know? So, but yeah, it's weird to think about how there's probably going to be a crypto that spies on you, and you'll have to agree to be spied on when you use it in the future. I hope that doesn't happen, but I think it probably will, and I hope that people stay away from that and don't support that kind of thing.
Hmm. That makes sense. Yeah, cool. I was reading somewhere, with all the things that are happening in the AI, how
Hmm.
powerful they are getting, right? Somebody made a, theory that in some time, maybe in the future, Bitcoin might no longer be safe from everyone, right? People are betting on Bitcoin because they consider it safe, right? It
Hmm.
cannot be broken. So do you think there will be a time that where we might have to worry about Bitcoin's safety?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, so like a lot of people don't remember this, but back in like 2010 or 2011, someone did hack Bitcoin.
Hmm.
Somebody gave themselves like a billion Bitcoins in their wallet.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly the method that they used. It's so long now.
Hmm.
This is 15 years ago, 16 years ago.
Okay.
But yeah, we should always worry about stuff that has a high value because like my project, for instance, has also been attacked. In 2018, it was attacked because of the high valuation.
Yeah.
When things have a high valuation, they get attacked. You
Yeah. Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Monero's been attacked. Litecoin's been attacked. I mean, every project that has notoriety and has value gets attacked. But
Mm.
the good part is that, we learn from the attack and we fix it and we move forward. Like a lot of people don't like reading stories about how things get hacked
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But you have to realize that without that, the security doesn't get better. And
Mm.
if you don't find out that it happens, well, it might be happening and you're not finding out.
Mm.
So so these things, it's a cat and mouse game, but it's kind of needed. It's kind of necessary, you
Mm.
know. I personally I've learned so much from seeing attacks on both my project and Bitcoin and Dogecoin and Litecoin. I've learned a lot about it, and how different attacks can be possible. So so I think that we're going to constantly see attacks on all of them. I mean, I'm sure right now while we're talking, I'm sure somebody's working on trying to find a way to
Yeah.
attack Bitcoin.
True. True.
At least several people are. I'd be crazy to say one person. Many people right now are trying to probably attack Bitcoin or Ethereum or my project or Dogecoin. It's happening. They're definitely working on trying because if they can, it's a lot of money and
Mm.
it's a lot of fame. They get fame from it. You'll be all over the news that this project, what you did, was all over the project. So all over the news. So yeah, I think that we should definitely be worried about the security in crypto for sure. And like with quantum technology, as we get closer to that, we need. But the good thing is that most developers are aware that these are issues on the front lines, and these are things that we think about. So, everybody is kind of constantly working on some kind of an idea or has an idea of what they need to do. So,
Mm.
as regular people hear about concerns about quantum, they should keep in mind that developers are way ahead of that. We know that that's coming. We know.
So, do you think we can do anything about it? You mentioned that you have, I think you have collaborated with the Bitcoin developers or made some contributions there. Do you think we can do anything about it, or are we doing anything about
Yes.
it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah. Definitely. It's just the hardest part, really, especially with with bigger projects like Bitcoin and Dogecoin. The problem is, well, not I would say more Bitcoin, not Dogecoin.
Mm.
Is getting everybody to agree on the solution.
Yeah. Yeah.
There might be 10 different solutions, and then
Mm.
getting 1,000 people to all agree. This is the one out of all these 10 is
Mm.
difficult. It's a democratic system where everybody kind of has to pick this. I think this is the best idea, this is the best idea, or this one is, or one of the best approaches when you first have many ideas is to get rid of the ones that aren't good.
Yeah.
And then you say, okay, well, these are our best options right here. We got rid of the bad ones. These are the best options. But these things take time. But
Mm.
but I don't think there's any like stress right now on development side for any of that stuff because all of us developers know that quantum is on the way, and we probably understand it better than most people do.
Mm.
So it's not like Bitcoin will be broken. The first attack, this is how it would probably work. The first quantum attack, if it were successful, would only be one address with one key.
Mm.
It wouldn't be like Bitcoin is ruined. We can hack all of it now. It would be
Yeah.
one, and it probably would have taken a long time to get that one, and likely it would be one that they worked on that had a lot of bitcoins in it.
Mm.
So we'd see a hit first. We wouldn't see like the network destroyed. We
Yeah.
wouldn't see like Bitcoin mining is wrecked. Everybody's coins are gone. We'd see one attack, but I don't think it'll ever get to that because I think that everybody kind of knows that something needs to be done, and there's a lot of different ideas being presented. So right now we're definitely in an idea stage where like which solution should we pick? But everybody knows that a solution is needed. In every project, my project, Bitcoin, everybody knows that the quantum threat is real, and that we're going to come up with a solution and work on that.
Okay, that's quite an insight for me. Cool. Okay, so this is the part where I'm personally very excited about, because at Emergence Media we are always working on different type of projects and trying to give them the the playbook to actually grow in the space, right? And
Right.
since you have been in this space for very very long time, right? Since 2014, what was the playbook that you had? I don't think you must have done any sort of KOL promotions or any marketing tactics apart from the board number, obviously. But
Uh,
you would have done a lot around then.
this sounds really cliche, and it sounds really really cliche, and I've heard a lot of people say it. But the only time that I ever did something because I just wanted to do it right and have fun, this was it, and it worked.
Mm,
Here's the thing, though. I don't mean just have fun.
mm,
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean just do it right. You have to do both, and you have to. It's not equal.
mm,
Sometimes, sometimes you don't get to have fun, but you got to
mm,
do what's right. And then other times you get to have a lot of fun, and you don't really have to do anything at that moment.
mm,
There's once in a while I get to take a day off and I don't have to do anything. I just say, you know what, today I'm not going to work.
mm,
Or when I'm working with other people, we like to have fun. We're like, let's play a video game today. And hey guys, instead of coding today, let's all just jump on a game together and put our
mm,
headsets on and laugh and tell jokes and shoot each other in a video game, and have fun. And you really got to do when things are good and you do them for the right reason, and you try to be nice to people. You try to try to stay serious, but you also know you have to have fun and dedicate yourself to
yeah.
it. You really have to believe in it. You know,
It was.
I've had a lot of different jobs before I
Mm,
did Verge, but I've
mm,
never worked harder for anything other than Verge because I believe in it. And I've
mm,
seen a lot of people that have come into Verge and help with like development or marketing and stuff like that. I've seen
mm,
them work really hard on it too. And they said the same thing. There was like, I worked at a restaurant once and I didn't really like it. And I find myself waking up every day excited to work on Verge.
right.
It's the same concept. It's because you got to do things the right way, but you have to have fun, take it serious, but have fun and enjoy it. It's still part of your life. Working
Yeah.
is still part of your life, and you got to enjoy your life.
I think it was all about the belief that you guys had, right? Because you believed in having privacy in terms of doing whatever you are doing, right?
Right.
I think it organically connected with all the people that you have till now, which
Absolutely.
is a thing that projects these days are lacking, because they don't have a clarity on what they believe, and they
Right.
they try to go after so many keywords and so many trends that they forget what they actually believe is. So yeah, which is what I think worked for you guys.
A lot of people. It's surprising to see the kind of people that are pro privacy. It's everybody. It's not just one kind of person. Like going back to what you're saying earlier, when people say, oh, if you have nothing to hide, if you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to hide. Well, it's like, well, but if I'm going to the bathroom, I shouldn't have to leave the door open, right? You know, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, you should. What are you doing in there? What are you
Mm,
talking about? I just want to go. I just want to have some privacy for a minute. And I think most people kind of get that when you explain privacy and how it really is. I mean, some people, if you scare people, some people will be like, yeah, we should take away privacy because if you
mm,
scare them. But if you explain, like, hey, listen, we have to be reasonable here. But don't forget that U.S. dollars on paper are basically private. If I
yeah.
give you cash, nobody knows where that came from in your wallet. Like back when you remember, I'm sure in the Middle East, we've found pallets of cash, U.S. dollars. We've found boxes of shrink wrapped cash because
Yeah.
it's anonymous. It's
Yeah.
anonymous and it's private. Does that mean that all U.S. dollars are bad? Well, is everybody that's using a U.S. dollar a criminal? No, of course not. Just because some people are, no. You know,
There will be bad actors everywhere, right?
if everybody that goes in the bathroom shuts the door, are they all doing something bad? No,
Yeah.
most people are just using the restroom.
Yeah.
Is it possible somebody's doing something bad?
Of
It's
course.
possible, but
Yeah.
it's unlikely. But just because that one person doesn't mean that we all need to keep the door open.
Yeah. True. 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 That makes sense. Yeah. So if let's say if you are talking to a project that is recently building or have built, right? And they are facing this particular bear market for the first time. How do you keep them motivated? What do you tell them on what they should be doing to keep their community intact? Because more often than not, we are seeing people, they join you
Mhm.
when the prices are high, and they dumps you whenever the prices
Sure,
are low.
of course, absolutely.
Yeah, I think more than like,
You have to show people. You have to show people, hey, this isn't the first time. You know,
yeah.
like right now, Bitcoin to me. If you ask me, I don't have to look at the market. And if you say,
Mhm.
hey, Justin, what's the price of Bitcoin? I don't know. It's really high right now.
Yeah.
That's the answer. That's the answer. And to some people, they don't feel that way. But I promise you, Bitcoin's price is really high right now, no matter
Mm,
what. Every day that I wake up for the next 10, 20, 30 years, the price is high right now.
mm,
It's
mm,
going to keep being high. That's it. You have to understand that, stress does a lot of crazy things to people.
mm,
You have to understand that, when you see what the market is at the time, you're looking at it at a very micro view. You have to look at a much wider view. When you extend those charts out, it's like looking at gold. If you look at
mm.
the price of gold on a chart, it literally looks like this,
Yeah,
up. But if
yeah.
you look day to day, well, you see up and down, you see up and down.
Mm,
Zoom out. Look from when gold market started until right now. It is literally like this. That's
yeah.
it. It's up. Same thing with Bitcoin. So you just have to understand that things go up and down, and you have to understand where you are. I think one of the big parts about entering the market is I definitely suggest to new projects coming in, look where the market is and understand where you're coming in at.
Yeah.
Because if you're coming in at the top, you need to be prepared for a 50% drop. But to the projects out there that are really still trying to work and the communities are feeling negative and they're losing money, you just have to be patient. You have to block that out and keep working. If you believe
Mm,
in the project, close that out. Do this. Just
yeah.
keep working on your code, keep working on the software, and that'll pay off because all of a sudden it's going to start picking up. And if you just got discouraged and you didn't work and you were like, oh man, the market is down and everybody's right, then
Yeah.
when the market starts to pick up, you're going to get dropped. The market's going to go up without you because you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So keep working on it. If you believe in it, keep working on it, definitely.
How do you keep your community engaged even after so many years? I'm sure.
I hang out in my chat. I talk to people, like I just hang out there. Like people say stuff, they're like, sometimes I agree with people too. Sometimes people be like, oh, the market sucks right now. I'm like, yeah, it does,
Mm,
whatever. But I mean, I hang out and I talk to them, I show them what I'm working on. I don't always wait to make an announcement sometimes about stuff I'm doing. Sometimes I'll just go in the chat and be like, hey guys, guess what I'm doing right now? I just
mm,
came up with a way to do this and I'm doing this, I'm updating that, or like, we're hey guys, I just had a really exciting meeting. That's pretty cool, Like, I mean, I kind of let people know, and people talk to each other, people become friends. You have to let everybody know. Not everything. When you go into a chat room and in a community, not everything is about that project. To be
yeah.
honest, it's okay if only half of the conversation is about the project, the other half is just about sports or current events. Like, what do you guys think about? Oh, today's a holiday. My kids had off from school. Did you guys see? What happened yesterday on the news? Did you guys, not everything has to be about that project. If communities want to stick together, you guys have to make friends. You have to learn to, if you want to stay in crypto, you should try to make friends around you and get to know people because you guys can go through this whole crypto journey together and learn so much.
Yeah.
Everybody knows bits and pieces that are all different. Everybody kind of can fit together like a puzzle. Everybody has different backgrounds. Some people come from sales and marketing, other people being managers, other people come from just being coders. I mean, you
Mm,
have so many different backgrounds of people coming in. To keep the community engaged, talk about other stuff, talk about everything. A coin's chat room shouldn't just be about the coin. To be honest, it should
yeah.
be about everything. It should be, if
Just
it's
to
a real
keep it fair.
community, people
Mm,
are people. People have interesting lives. People live all over the world. You know, I love talking to people about what country they're in. Like, oh, it's snowing over there. It's like 80 degrees here. It's warm over here. That's cool. I like that
mm.
stuff. So you have to be real. You have to keep it real.
That's a very important point that you are making, because these days people, I don't think CEOs or the higher level people, they are barely interacting with their community.
Yeah, I see that a lot. I see that a lot. And but see, the thing is, like, I came in as a community.
Mm,
I was one of them,
mm,
and I still like looking at other crypto projects. I'm not like a Verge maximalist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to see what's going on in crypto. This is my industry. I got
Mm.
into it as a regular person, and so I still try to stay that regular person. I like to hang out and chat and talk. Sometimes people mess with me and like to make fun of me, and I like dealing with it. I like taking that. Yeah, poke some fun at me. You know. Like, I
Yeah.
like that stuff, and I like interacting with the community. I want to hear their thoughts because honestly, what is this project without community input anyway? What if I
True.
do something that everybody hates? And
True.
I have to listen to them. I'm not going to release it. Everybody hates it, and then the project falls apart. What do you guys think? I always ask questions to people. What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about this? What do you think about this? I always
Yeah.
ask the community what they think about stuff
That
because
is very,
they are the project. I mean, I can't buy my own coin and just buy all my own coin and make it go up.
yeah, of course.
It's all these people that are involved. So you
Yeah.
got to constantly engage with them and ask them how they feel about stuff and talk to them about other stuff too because they're people. People are interesting.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Cool. Yeah, I know that you are in the coding space, but I'll ask you anyway because it
Sure.
is related to marketing. So yeah, if I understand that you guys don't put a lot of money into marketing, but if you were, let's say you have a funding of let's say $1 million, right? Where will you put it in marketing?
Okay, so I have $1 million and I have to use it for marketing.
Yeah, it could be not just on Verge. It could be any project that you might have worked on, or what do you think?
I would probably do. That's a great question. This is a really really good question. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm torn between a couple of ideas. I have a few ideas off the top of my head. One, I think I would try to get somebody from the team, at least like maybe 4 people, to each go to a different city
Hmm.
and do an in-person paper wallet giveaway
Oh wow. Okay.
where it's not a whole lot, but maybe it's like $20.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know, so
So
maybe you give.
in person giveaway kind of thing.
Yeah, so I think it'd be cool. So like maybe like we get like 1,000 $20 wallets,
Mm-hmm.
and we do that times 4, so that's 80,000. Oh
Eighty
no, wait.
thousand.
So that's not even a okay. Wait, we could do better than that.
Yeah.
So we could do
You still have another zero with you. Yeah.
yeah.
Not
So
100, you
so
have a
we could
million dollars.
we could probably give away like 10,000 wallets in 4 major cities around the world all at the same
Mm.
time or like all within the same 24 hours
Yeah.
and just kind of like spread the word like hey here's free Verge and like just have like a QR code and they
Yeah.
have to download like the Verge app to scan it
Yeah.
and then now all these people have $20
Mm.
and I think man this is such a cool idea because there's other cool ideas too like maybe like a commercial or something like that but like
Maybe
it'd
a
have to be
super cool
somewhere it'd
rate.
have to be somewhere good like Super
Yeah.
Bowl commercial type thing um Man, what a cool question! But I think it would be cool to do like a giveaway, like to
Mhm.
take like 5 or 600,000 of it,
Yeah.
and just turn it into $20 paper wallets,
Mm.
and then just distribute them in like major cities. Maybe like do like a live stream in each city. Have
Yeah.
somebody doing a live stream. Have somebody handing out the wallets, and then just hey, here's Verge. Hey, here's Verge. Hey, here's Verge. I think
Mm.
that'd be kind of fun.
So
And
in
then
person
and then
can
and
get their
yeah,
feedback.
yeah, exactly, and get people's feedback, and obviously we'd use people that are knowledgeable and
Mm.
can help people explain really quickly. Hey, here's how you do it. You just
Mm.
go on, go here and get this app, scan the QR code or something like that. Like
Mm.
that would be so fun. That's a really good question. But yeah,
Yeah.
but I definitely have to brag about that. We've put no money into marketing on
Yeah.
Verge, and everything that we did was organic,
Do you,
which
do
is
you
really
guys
cool.
do any sort of marketing as of now? Any
Oh, I
any
mean,
dot?
we do marketing. We just don't spend money on marketing, but we
You
do
do?
marketing. I mean, we push to all our social medias. We do press releases, stuff like that. Sure.
Okay.
And then our partners, our
Sorry.
partners do a lot of marketing and stuff like that too.
Mm.
We have a lot of marketing, but we don't spend money on marketing.
Okay. It's all through your partners and all those stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. So you mentioned that you have a keen eye on different projects that are building in this space. Which
Mhm.
narrative or which niche that you are more excited about, apart from privacy, of course.
I really like smart contracts and how like, a lot of these little smart contract EVM chains are opening up. For instance, I've talked about this before. I really like ZK Sync, for instance. I've mentioned before how I think just publicly, I've mentioned before how I think that it's important for us to do certain things on blockchains. Like I think voting is important. We should do that on
Mm.
blockchains because then
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about anybody rigging elections. IDs, like a driver's license or like a state ID or a country ID. I think
Mm,
that's really important, and we could do that. So ZK Sync is a project that's doing. They just did all the city of Buenos Aires. All of
mm,
their IDs are now on blockchain on ZK Sync. And I think
mm,
that's really cool. The chain Avalanche is working with Toyota and handling all their mobile app data, and I think that's really cool.
mm,
And that's really cool stuff. And then obviously there's privacy projects that I like. Like I really enjoyed talking to that guy Ycash from Ycash. I looked into that project after I got off the podcast, and I was like, "That's a really cool project. I really like this." Not only did I have a good conversation with the guy, and did he seem very smart and down to earth, but the project seemed like a really good project and really sustainable. So,
mm.
I definitely enjoyed that. So yeah, there's a lot of projects out there. I mean, I keep my eye on all of them.
Yeah, that's great. What do you think about the prediction markets or other niches that are happening in this space as of now? Prediction market.
I'm not a fan of speculation markets. Like I don't like futures.
Mm,
I don't like speculation markets. I don't
yeah,
like stuff where you're trading nothing.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I like when you're trading I don't want to trade oil futures or gold futures. If I want to trade oil or gold, I want to trade oil or gold. I
yeah.
don't I think that once you start creating uh, markets on top of that are made of nothing, it's kind of like vaporware. Like is it even real? And then you have to worry about, well, it's really easily manipulated. If you don't
Mm,
actually have to have the gold or have the oil
yeah,
or have the actual product, then
yeah,
you can manipulate those markets really easily
yeah.
because you're not really trading anything anyway. You're just trading ideas. So I don't know. I'm kind of weary of that kind of stuff. But also to be quite honest, I don't have a very in-depth understanding of it. And I'll
Mm,
admit that. You know, futures might be the best thing in the world. I'm not convinced of that. I think that when you're trading things that don't actually involve the movement of the product, I'm weary of it.
yeah, yeah. People are just merely speculating at this moment.
Right. Like, I mean, if you spend $1 million on gold futures right now, you have
Yeah,
no gold.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course, of course. True,
So
true. Yeah, cool. Okay. Okay, let's talk about another post that I just read about somewhere. I think it was from Yuval Noah Harari. I'm not sure if you have heard about his name. He's the one who wrote Homo Sapiens, right?
oh,
The book,
nice.
right? So he mentioned that it is the first time that we don't really know what is going to happen in next 5 years, right?
Sure.
With the advent of AI, with the advent of whatever happening is in the geopolitical space, we
Sure.
don't really know what is going to happen in 5 years. What do you
Mhm.
think, as per you, what do you think will happen in 20, let's say 2030, with AI?
Let me add something funny to that though.
Yeah,
You know what's funny is you're right about saying that we don't know what will happen, with all these things. But
yeah,
I can tell you what people want.
yeah,
I can tell you that nobody wants war.
yeah. It's still
So
happening.
so you have 99.9% of the planet
Yeah,
says no, we don't want war,
yeah,
but the
yeah,
people in charge do.
yeah. That is true.
So I think that we're coming to a point in humanity, in
Mm,
civilization, where things are rapidly changing.
mm,
False narratives are no longer able to really sustain themselves.
mm,
If somebody's lying for bad reasons, especially governments or leaders, and they're
mm,
lying for bad reasons, I think that information is going to continue to keep coming out faster and faster. Like we've
yeah,
already seen now, like it took
yeah,
us like 20 years, I think, to find out that we invaded Iraq thinking there was weapons of mass destruction,
yeah,
and then we found out that there weren't. And it took a very long time though for us to find out there weren't. And
yeah,
but now when things like that happen, we find out pretty quickly, and I think that's going to keep happening, like to where it's like, the next day you're like, oh no, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. So
mm,
I think that there's a positive. I think that we're moving into a space now, and I think within the next 5 years we're going to start seeing narratives, false narratives anyway, or constructs start to fade. You know, I think that we're finally starting to reap some of the benefits of the internet, where we can share information so fast, and
mm,
and because of means of privacy that we have too, it's not able to get censored anymore. It's not able to get stopped before it gets out and spread out to the masses.
yeah,
So that's one thing that I think that is positive, because I think that if we don't, I think we're all in a lot of trouble.
mm,
I think that the conditions are going to get worse for everybody in every country if we don't find a way to start exposing things and making the reality shared instantly with everybody everywhere. If my country and your country start fighting, well, you and I don't want that. And if one of us find out that our guy is lying, about it, it's become our responsibility to share that information immediately
True.
and try to get everybody to find out. Hey, it's like yelling if if you see something on fire, fire,
Yeah.
fire, fire. So it's the same concept, and I think that in the next 5 years, I think we're going to start seeing a lot of that kind of stuff fade away. I hope anyway. Maybe I'm too hopeful, but I
Yeah.
really think that we're going to start seeing a lot of that stuff go away because I think that narratives now, fake narratives, especially produced by leaders, are starting to dissolve quickly. So
Mhm. Cool. Yeah, I think it was great having a conversation with you, and
yeah, likewise, man. I had a
we have,
good time.
we have already crossed, I think, 1 hour and 20 minutes already. So which is, I
Oh
don't think
yeah,
I'm.
wow.
Yeah, I think that's a wrap for this episode for Emergence Unchained. If privacy matters to you, and after this conversation, it should matter to everyone, in my opinion. So go follow Verge Currency. I'm sure you must have already followed them, but if you haven't, go follow them and stay tuned for the next one. And I'll see you around the corner. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on, man. I really had a good time talking.